With apparent paralysis in Parliament, Sky News will be in Leeds this evening, hosting a debate between voters there to try and find out what the people want the politicians to do. So the MP for Leeds and the Shadow Justice Secretary, Richard Burgon, joins us now from Leeds. We're going to be in Leeds because...
Morning, Sophie.
Morning. The city was split pretty much 50-50 when it came to Brexit. As the MP for the area, do you think people are more or less divided now?
Well, the constituency that I represent, one of the 8 constituencies in Leeds, voted heavily to leave. But as you say, across the whole of Leeds, it was basically 50-50. And people still hold strong opinions on this. What people want most of all, though, is a way out of this national crisis that the Conservatives have caused. And that's why I think Jeremy's been right in his recent speech in Wakefield and his speech earlier this week in Hastings to talk about bringing people together who voted leave and who voted remain, because we believe that the real divide in our society isn't between those who voted leave and those who voted remain, but actually between the many and the privileged few at the top that have been doing very well. Because whether you live in Huddersfield and voted leave or in Hackney and voted remain, you're still facing many of the same problems. Problems of low wages, stagnant wages, the housing crisis, austerity, the cuts to public services. So what we want is an end to the division in our country. We want to bring people together around a common sense, traditional British compromise that can get out of this impasse that the Prime Minister has caused.
You were very clear there that you are pointing the finger of blame at the Conservative Party, but I just want to put you a few things that the Labour MP David Lammy has just said on the show. He says that when it comes to Brexit, Jeremy Corbyn is hedging, that an election is very unlikely to happen, and if Labour doesn't have more of a solid position on Brexit, and he wants to see a second referendum, of course, then the party could split. Is he right?
Well, I don't think the party's going to split, but David does hit upon an important point, which is Jeremy, as the leader of the Labour Party for the whole of the UK, is somebody who's wanting to win the next general election to get a Labour government that can heal those divisions and get a government for the many, not the few, and pass those policies. But also Labour, not just in Leeds but across the whole country, represents both communities that voted leave and communities that voted remain. That's not a problem the Conservatives have. It's not actually a problem that the Liberal Democrats have either. I think it's a good problem to have, and it makes us uniquely placed to bring people together. Most people don't define themselves primarily as remainers or leavers when it comes to their view of politics or their view of life. Of course, some do, and I respect their opinions. We need to bring people together around the bread and butter issues, but we're not going to be able to do that if we have a disastrous no-deal Brexit, which is what the Prime Minister is threatening us with. So our priority is to stop a disastrous no-deal Brexit, and we think that our proposal actually offers a way through that which will bring people together and command the support of the majority in the House of Commons too.
Well, in the spirit of bringing people together, Theresa May's been inviting members of opposition parties into Downing Street to try and find a way through the current gridlock when it comes to Brexit. The party leaders went, Jeremy Corbyn didn't go. This is what he said in May 2017. You've got to work with people who often you don't agree with. There has to be a process in which people talk to each other. What happened to the man who believes in talking to all sides?
Well, he and Labour do believe in talking and negotiation, productive discussions. The reason that Jeremy said what he said in Parliament, and he said he's happy to meet Theresa May to work out a way through this national crisis, he said, let's start off by the Prime Minister taking a disastrous no deal off the table. That would harm communities economically and in terms of jobs, both who voted leave and who voted remain. He said he wouldn't go to what would be, in effect, a PR stunt for the Prime Minister at that point. Other political parties, the Lib Dems, the Green MP and Plaid Cymru, went to see the Prime Minister and were disappointed when they came out and found out that it indeed was the case that Theresa May wasn't being flexible, she wasn't prepared to take no deal off the table. the Prime Minister's trying to hold the country to ransom, threatening those who voted leave, that unless we support her rotten deal will remain in the European Union, and threatening those people who voted remain, that unless we support her disastrous deal, then we're going to crash out of the European Union with no deal. What we don't want is to take part, and this is why Jeremy somebody said last week, what we didn't want to do was to take part in what would really could be a PR stunt where the Prime Minister would be cynically using other parties' goodwill in order to run down the clock further towards the disastrous no-deal Brexit that she's threatening the country with. If she takes it off the table, as she should do, as plenty of people in her cabinet and party wanted to, then I think we can bring the country together and get a way out of this national crisis.
OK, Richard Burgon, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are out of time there.